Now, we could be committing an environmental sin without even realising it. Recent research suggests that there are now over 5 trillion pieces of plastic floating about in our oceans.
And surprisingly, some of that could be coming from your bathroom. Lucy reveals why it's time to face up to the microbead.
There's nothing like a good scrub to get our faces feeling squeaky clean.
Using exfoliating products might make you feel like you've got a spa at home, but in reality the bits that do the scrubbing are actually tiny bits of polyethylene. Yes, the same stuff they make bin bags from.
Smaller than grains of sand, these plastic particles slip through sewage filter systems. And as they don't break down naturally, microbeads can end up in the sea as part of our growing stream of marine litter. Dr. Matt Cole is leading the research on microbeads with Exeter University and the Plymouth Marine Laboratory.
So a lot of facial scrubs, shower gels and even toothpastes contain these tiny little exfoliating scrubs and beads, which we call microplastics. And these are perhaps a little bit cheaper for the producers to use within these products.
I've brought face scrubs from our most popular skincare brands for Dr. Cole to test.
The key word here that's popping out of me is polyethylene. This is a plastic, so this means straight away that this product will be containing microplastic.
Okay, so that's what we're looking for, polyethylene.
Polyethylene or polypropylene or nylon are all words that you can look out for.
They may be tiny, but Matt has a simple way to reveal the beads in our scrubs. Simply give them a wash.
You can see that a lot of them have sunk straight to the bottom, but there's also a whole array of little bits that are floating within the water itself.
So those are all beads, not
Those are all beads, yep.
Next, Matt uses filter papers and a mini suction pump so only the tiny beads in our scrubs are left behind. And every one of the products we brought along contains plastic.
You can immediately see some of the brightly coloured ones on these two scrubs and this one here. If you look very closely, you can see a very sort of fine layer of white powder, and if you actually just sort of put your finger on it and just lift it up, you can see some of these bits of plastic, which are incredibly tiny.
Matt wants to show me a potential consequence of these beads in a special lab.
So on the screen, we can see a whole range of different kinds of zooplankton. These little guys, they munch on the algae and plants that live within the water.
And what are you going to show me next?
Well, I'm just going to add on our fluorescent filter here. These little fluorescent blobs are actually the cosmetic beads we were looking at earlier. So I've fluorescently labelled them so that we can see them very easily. And because these animals are quite basic in their feeding, they can't always tell the difference between their prey and these bits of plastic.
Of course, this is just a lab experiment. But as plankton are at the bottom of the food chain, Matt's work suggests the fish that feed on them could also be consuming microplastics, potentially passing them up the food chain.
Seems incredible to me that you can feed plastic to plankton just by washing your face.
We contacted all the companies in our microbead experiment. L'Oreal, Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson and Reckitt Benckiser all told us their products will be free of plastic beads by 2017. Unilever told us they'll meet that target this year. And for all us home spa addicts, there are alternatives, as beauty therapy lecturer Tracy Bennett points out.
We've got natural products. We've got walnut shell that can be ground down. We've got carrot, bamboo. That one's your eucalyptus, and that's got your jojoba beads in, so they will feel like the little plastic beads.
Are you sure this one's got no plastic in?
Yes.
There's not much excuse for using microbeads if you can find an alternative.
No need at all, no. We can replace that.
Plastic and plankton seem to be oceans apart. But thanks to this latest research, we now know that may not be the case after all.